Welcome to the channel. I'm Matt, aka the Doc in the Arena, the guy that will give you the medical take on sporting topics. Today, something extremely serious. Yesterday, watching the European Championships, Denmark versus Finland, Christian Eriksen goes down, collapses, no one around him, and had to be resuscitated on the pitch. Basically, the sum of all fears for a sports medicine doctor. Horrendous to see. I'm sure for the fans it was horrendous. Absolutely chilling for the doctor to see as well. Good news, however, is that he is stable and awake in hospital. So fantastic job to the medical professionals involved. Obviously, people have been asking my take on the situation. So I thought I'd hop on quickly and just answer the 5 most commonly asked questions that I've received in the last 12 to 18 hours or so. Before I do that, if you do like this type of content, click like. If you like it, like it. Subscribe and join the channel because I've got a lot more stuff coming. With that having been said, let's hop straight into it. Christian Eriksen suffered what we call a sudden cardiac arrest, and that's when your heart suddenly begins to pump ineffectively. If you imagine your heart as a strong pump that pumps regularly and sends blood around the body like choo, 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 choo. In Christian's case, it either just stopped beating or it started beating too fast and irregularly like that, and as a result, the blood can't be pumped effectively around the body. If you don't pump blood around the body, you collapse and you die. And that's exactly what happened to Christian. He basically died for a period of time before he was resuscitated. This brings me to the first question, which is, why did it happen? We do not know. We might find out later, but we don't know for now. What I would say is we kind of split the causes into structural, which is actually the physical structure of the heart. You know, are the muscles too big and not pumping effectively, or the quality of the muscle is fibrose, so again, can't pump effectively. We then look at the electrical activity in the heart. Your heart works as a pump due to electricity flowing around it. And if those wires get crossed and they don't work well, again, your heart can stop. And thirdly, acquired. Is there something he picked up that caused his heart to stop? For example, his coronary artery, so the arteries in his heart blocked, or he had some sort of virus and he caused inflammation of his heart. So we don't know. But those are the 3 things: structural, electrical, acquired. That's how I would think about it anyway. Second question, which I liked a lot, was what actually happens on the pitch? So what happens on the pitch is exactly what should happen in any cardiac arrest, particularly those outside of hospital, and that is basic life support. This is when your fundamentals as a health professional come into play. You run on the pitch. Within 10 seconds, you have to decide, is this patient alive or dead? So you look to see if they're breathing, you feel for breaths, and you check their pulse, and you do that all within 5 to 10 seconds. If he doesn't have signs of life, you start CPR, so you start compressions on the chest to mimic the pumping of the heart. In this case, you saw CPR was started, CPR was initiated, so he must have been passed away, he must have been dead for that period of time. Okay, so basic life support. On top of that, the most important thing is your defibrillator, so the thing that shocks the heart back into its normal rhythm. To put it into context, if you suffer a cardiac arrest outside of hospital, your chances of survival are less than 20%. However, if within the first 3 minutes or so, first 3 to 5 minutes, you can shock that patient, their chance of survival goes up to 50% or 70%, depending on what research you look at. So that's how important it was. And again, the medical staff did brilliantly to shock him within such a short period of time. If you were watching closely, you'd have seen that. So yeah, so that's what happens on the pitch. Basic life support, find out if he's alive and get the shock going. Next question, which was reasonable, was why didn't they take him to hospital? Good question. And the answer basically is these type of resuscitation efforts require extreme concentration and the flow needs to be good. You need to be having uninterrupted chest compressions and shocks to the heart. So if you can avoid transferring the patient and having unnecessary stoppages in that, then it's better for the patient. Each team and each stadium will have their own protocol as to when they take the patient to the hospital. Some might just say take him to the hospital straight away or get him in the ambulance straight away. Some may say, okay, shock him once and take him to the hospital. Some may say shock him 3 times, take him to the hospital. You get the point. What I do know is 2 things. They will have had the requisite equipment there at the stadium, and they would have a protocol which they follow to the letter. So whatever you're comfortable with is the most important thing. If you have all the equipment there and the people there, there's no reason to move him straight away. It's only if you're unsuccessful in your efforts you may want to try and get him to an ambulance. So that's why they decided to do that work on the pitch. Third question, been asked by loads of people. Don't footballers get heart checks? The answer is an unequivocal yes. If you're a professional footballer, you're getting heart checks at least once a year. At the top level, each year you'll get an ECG, which will check the electrical activity of the heart, and an echocardiogram, which will check the structural aspects of the heart. If there's any even tiny abnormality, you get sent straight to a specialist and you get further testing. So they see what your heart looks like when you're exercising. They might even do an MRI of the heart to see really, really good detail, the structure. So they get loads and loads of checks. Christian Eriksen in particular, he plays in Italy, which has some of the most strict cardiac checking rules of anywhere in world sport. So he's definitely been checked, and he was just extremely unlucky. Question 4. People have been asking me, would I have done anything differently? No. Unequivocally, no. The medical team did brilliantly. The guy's alive, so they've done fantastically. Simple as that. And it's basic life support. It's your fundamentals. So I would have done pretty much the same thing. I did have a question regarding why the Denmark players seem to have been surrounding him while he was having his resuscitation efforts. If that was me, what I would do is I'd probably have sent the players away. But obviously, the doctor is very, very focused on the player, so I can't criticise him for that. And secondly, having watched it again, I think they were forming a barrier. So, the crowd couldn't see what was going on, or the cameras couldn't see what was going on. So I think that could have been deliberate. But that's the only thing I might have tweaked. Fifth and most important question everyone's asking, will he ever play again? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. I've never seen a player who's had a sudden cardiac arrest actually on the pitch play again professionally. It's not something that I would advise. Normally after a cardiac arrest, you advise low intensity exercise. So that would not include playing international professional football. Furthermore, I read today Prof. Sanjay Sharma, who's one of the top UK cardiologists for sport. He said it's very unlikely that he'll play again owing to the situation. We saw with Fabrice Muamba, he didn't play again. And I think it's the safest thing. So it's a terrible shame because Christian Eriksen's a magnificent player. But for his safety, I'd be surprised if he played again. Yeah, and the final question I've been asked from a friend of mine, just to tack on at the end. Will the players be offered psychological support? Undoubtedly. If I was a doctor working in the team, that's one of the first things I'd be saying to Christian, but also his teammates. And I'm sure they'll have sort of in-house psychologists there. So I'm sure that's taken care of as well. Guys, if you have more questions, just leave a comment and I'll answer them for you. Other than that, as I said, just like and subscribe. I hope this was an informative video and I'll check in with you guys later. Peace out.